everyone. This is Luca Majno here again with friend Gregory Ford. This is Global News Update on TLBTV, where we give you complete backstage and up-to-date info. Oh my God, and chickens. As to all the developments occurring in our world today. You're lucky I wasn't being serious, Greg, because that would have really screwed me off. Okay, what I would like to start the show with today is our belligerence as a nation and about true history, because this is what we're going after, right? We're going after true history, and we're going after not opinion, okay, but truth. And this is really important, okay, because this is what our nation was founded on. I give you a quote, and this is excerpts from explanatory text that George A. Crofts provided to market John Gast's 1872 lithograph called American Progress, which we know better as Manifest Destiny. Okay, and this is a quote. The rich and wonderful country, the progress of which at the present time is the wonder of the old world, was until recently inhabited exclusively by the lurking savage and the wild beasts of prey. In the foreground of this image, the central and principal figure, a beautiful and charming female, is floating westward through the air, bearing on her forehead the Star of Empire. On the right of the picture is the city, steamships, manufactories, schools, and churches over which beams of light are streaming and filling the air, indicative of civilization, right? The general tone of the picture on the left declares darkness, waste, and confusion. From the city proceed the three continental lines of railway. Next to these are the transportation wagons, overland stages, hunters, gold seekers, pony express, pioneer immigrants, and warrior dance of the noble red man, fleeing from progress, or Indians, buffaloes, wild horses, bears, and other game moving westward, ever westward. The Indian with their squaws, papooses, and pony lodges turn their despairing faces towards as they flee the wondrous vision. The star is too much for them. Okay? I had to really lay that on people because they don't seem to understand that this was one of the first things that civilization started with, and how we painted the horrible picture of the savages, the untamed savages, the vermin that have to be destroyed like mosquitoes. You know, you squash them, right? So this is what our nation was founded on. Is it any wonder that we have this stuff today, Greg? This is my point. So I'm giving the floor to you now after that one.
Okay, well, boy, all I have to relate to is my great-grandmother, okay, leaving Scotland on a sailing ship, great-great-grandmother on a sailing ship, because the English had driven the Scots, they called the clearings, okay, and their idea of a kinder, gentler relationship with the Scots was, you're out of this house, you're off your land by the time the sun sets today, or we'll come back and kill you.
Exactly.
All right. Kinder, gentler. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why there's so much acrimony between the Scots and the English. Well, there it is right there. And so everyone, all the Scots decided to come to any way they could get to America. And my great-great-grandmother was no different. She had a teaching degree, a master's teaching degree. So she decided to come to North Carolina. And North Carolina, it turned out, just to be incremental in my life and her life, was the fact that it was the start of the Trail of Tears for the Cherokee. All right. And so she had the few brass farthings. She bought a mule, and she rode that mule all the way to where that mule couldn't go on the Trail of Tears. And then she got off, and she had the last few pennies, and she bought cut boards, and she built the schoolhouse that is now there in Rosebud, Oklahoma. It is still there. Okay, that's my grandmother. And I'm sure some of the Cherokee are listening to your show, Luca, and they can attest to that. And she taught there for the next 30 years, married, and that's how I have Cherokee in my background. She married a Cherokee man, and they had children. Okay, so, and then she was the only person to teach there in that 30 years. No one else would volunteer to teach. So she taught little Native American Cherokee, okay, for 30 years of her life. All right. So that's what I have to relate to.
One more thing, and I'm honoring my friend of 10 years, Larry Cooper, for this, because he was the district deputy chief of the TSALAGI nation. And this is what's so important. The Europeans couldn't say the word TSALAGI, so they said Cherokee, and it's a distortion of the real word, which is TSALAGI I Nudogi, because very quickly in the Carolinas, right before the Trail of Tears, some of them had visions of it, and they foresight, so they went to Texas in 1819 and incorporated, and I'm showing a picture of that right now. It's the seal of the TSALAGI I Nudogi, which means the Cherokees of Texas. So enough for that teaching. Greg, you have news for us.
And I'll close that on my, by the way, the Scots and the TSALAGI Cherokee, all right, are the largest mixed minority in America now. All right.
There you go.
So we are dealing with quite a lobbying body, you know, as politicians love to think about. All right. So anyway, sure. Okay. First of all, what's all this shooting going on in Chicago? Okay.
Yeah.
Not that Chicago's any stranger to gun battles in the middle of the street. Just ask Al Capone. All right. But right now, I guess, anytime there's something going on, and it troubles me and it pains me. When I came back from Iraq after dealing with all that carnage that America was reaping and heaping upon the Iraqis, and that fake war, you want to talk about fake news? How about that fake war? All right. And of course, everybody knows my story, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay real attention to what goes on in certain areas. So I came back and was working in on a volunteer basis in the, Michael Reese emergency room there in Southside Chicago. And for the first time in my life, I really felt like I was actually a member, what it's like to be a member of a minority. And in the South Side, and this is from 55th Street on up to, to the east from Lakeshore Drive, further on into South Side. Okay. So near Stony Island. All right. For those of you who know Chicago. And, everything was fine during the day, but boy, when the sun set on that place, things got pretty lively. And as far as I could see, it was all drug dealing. Okay, that was causing most of the problem. Drug dealing, drugs fueling the gangs. And of course, who's responsible for all of this? George H.W. Bush. All right. How do all those drugs get into the inner city? George H.W. Bush. All right. I'm sure George could, offer a few things. By the way, I saw a great picture of George yesterday, standing at the Texas Book Repository, all right, watching President Kennedy, JFK, drive by. So that's where Mr. George H.W. Bush was. Yes. The Cocaine Importation Agency. You're right. All right. So all that inner city crack problem, Cleveland, Los Angeles, Oakland, Dallas, you name it. It goes on and on. Miami, okay? It's the CIA importation, okay, agency, the Cocaine Agency of America, all right? That's where that's all coming from, folks. Any doubt? Please call in and tell me that you're dumb enough to have doubts about that, okay? Please call in and say that, and you need to qualify that by telling me that you were a graduate of the Leave No Imbecile Behind program of George W. Bush, okay? Speaking of that, my goodness, what is all this about Abu Zubaydah, okay, coming out with his book, written by the original whistleblower, Mr. John Curacao. Oh, he's fleshing out that 28 pages that were declassified in the 9/11 Commission. Is there anybody out there that's stupid enough to think that 9/11 was caused by 19 wild-eyed, crazy, hopped-up terrorists? Oh, you need to read the book, The Convenient Terrorist. After that, you will have no doubt that our CIA, yes, that same CIA, has brought you 9/11. Okay, please call in and tell me. I'd love to hear from you. Hear how stupid a person can be by saying that they believe that it was 19 wild-eyed crazies. Okay, and Abu Zubaydah is alive and well as Abdel Belhaj. Okay, the his case is going up in the courts like mine. Okay, going into the courts. Abdel Belhaj was the leader of the CIA-run army to overthrow Gaddafi. Well, this is how the agency works, folks. I can attest to this personally. They decided he was in the way and he knew too much, so they grabbed his family and they tortured his family. This is Abdel Belhaj, tortured his family in front of him. All right? And then he now has a massive lawsuit against the United States. Gee, just like me. Gosh, what does that make me? A terrorist? Uh-oh. So what we have here, okay, is now Abdel Belhaj is head of ISIS in Libya. You see how this ISIS recruitment thing works? I do. All right. I can certainly understand why ISIS behaves the way they do. So, getting back to Chicago, yes, they have a drug problem, a little drug problem, I think they say, right? Remember, Black lives don't really matter, according to the agency. And if you think I'm wrong about that, do your research.
Right.
So what we have, and I'd also like somebody to start looking at something else about Chicago. Chicago sits on, what is it, the shores of Lake Michigan, that great big lake there. If you'll notice, the amount of traffic, marine traffic, has rapidly increased on Lake Michigan. And the word is that I'm getting from my sources, and yes, you can call it, like jet streams and so forth, paranoia. I'm getting is that the Lake Michigan has been steadily being poisoned with industrial toxins being dumped into it. Okay, what happens when all those materials aerosolize and they blow where? To the south and to the east. Okay, guess what's south and east on Lake Michigan? Chicago. Okay, what do you have? You have massive amounts of industrial toxins being dumped illegally into Lake Michigan, and they're now affecting the people that can least defend themselves, which are people in the ghetto. Okay, all right, that's anything east of 55th Street. Okay, South Side. All right, that's what I have to say. And yes, they are killing each other. Gee, and where they get all those drugs, I can't imagine for the life of me. Yes, your agency is killing you. There shouldn't be any doubt about it. All right. And by the way, changing subjects, I just got word that there's a show. It's called House of Cards. Everybody should see it. The last show was on last night, and it has to do with monitoring surveillance in our society. Now, I just got somebody sent me the bill, what that costs our politicians. Excuse me, what it costs you Americans. All right, let's keep that straight. It doesn't cost the politicians anything. All right, it's what you have to pay so you can be monitored by your make-believe government, your fake government. All right. Here's the deal: 75 billion, not million, $billion goes into monitoring you. And with that kind of money, Luca, I think that we ought to contact the NSA right now after the end of the show and ask for our first press recording, okay, of this show.
Good idea.
I would really like to see first of all, how I look on camera, okay? And secondly, that's the deal. You've got it. We are now being monitored every which way we can by the agencies, okay, that are bent on controlling, bent and controlling this government, all right? It's been happening for a long time. The 9/11 just sealed the deal, okay? There was no terrorist attack, folks. It was just one big business deal. Okay, right, Mr. Bush? All right, all right, Prince Bandar Ben Al Sultan. Okay, just a business deal, right? Okay, tell that to the 3,000 uh, uh, dead that we have as a result, and we won't forget the 12,000 that died in Iraq and Afghanistan to date. All right, we won't forget about them either. Okay, that's
And
what we have going on.
and how many are suiciding every single day? You know, the CIA has that classic line, that one-liner, some wars are not meant to be won.
Gee, isn't that convenient? Okay, that the agency that supports the big plutocracies, the big money-making plutarchs, all right, and the kleptocracy, that's who the CIA works for, folks. It doesn't work for protecting us against terrorism. Got that? Terrorism, all right? Hell, I was in terrorism years and 2 decades ago. I didn't see any of these deeply concerned, quote, experts out there. Terrorism, all right? No, got news for you, okay? They didn't show up till it got to be vogue. Very convenient. Something to sidle up to the public trough and start feeding, okay? You look at all the different companies that have come about for monitoring terrorists, okay? No, they're all monitoring you. They're monitoring me. They're monitoring everybody out there, all right? And it costs $75 billion. Okay, here, I've got a better use for that. First of all, we better be monitoring these sleazy, pimped out politicians that we've got, okay, representing us, all right? But secondly, okay, are they monitoring the Bush family? I'd really like to know what the Bush family is doing now in Paraguay and Uruguay, buying up riparian rights on the South American continent, all right? Are they monitoring those folks? I don't think so. So what we have here, okay, is a bunch of hand-wringing, weak sister, pimped out, little sleazy politicians busy telling us, well, we just can't figure out a new health care bill. I figured one out for you folks, all right? We're going to have exactly what our pimped out politicians get. And guess what? They don't even pay for it. There's not a politician there in Washington that pays for his own health care. You pay for it. Everyone pays for it, okay? But they don't, and they want to give you some sort of cut rate, namby-pamby, panty waist, a bunch of glop, a bunch of crap, you know, called the healthcare program. Yeah, you're going to get exactly what they get, okay? And all this 75 billion so your government can spy on you and try to figure out everything you're going to do so they can make money off of it. Forget it, okay? It goes into the healthcare, okay? Your healthcare as American citizens. That's where it goes, all right? Anybody confused about what I just said? Please call in and tell me how confused you are, okay? What else do I have? Okay.
The missiles.
Yeah. Okay. So in other words, drop all domestic surveillance. A lot of good it did in 9/11, huh? Wink, wink. 9/11. Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. Keep your surveillance of all your other countries you want to exploit and bomb and invade. Okay. Keep that. Sure. You don't spy on domestic U.S. citizens. All right. You know, the government works for the citizenry of this country, not the other way around. Let me see. Okay, North Korea. Okay, missiles. I had to break out my old, well-worn, dog-eared copy of the Order of Battle of the North Korean Army, try to figure out what I was seeing yesterday. And that's kind of a holdover from when I was an intelligence analyst. And my goodness, it certainly had the formatting, their army has the formatting of the Russian army. Oh, does that mean that they used Russian advisors to set up their army? I think it does. Okay. And I looked up their missiles. Those missiles look suspiciously like a redo, okay, of something called the Chinese, the Chinese missiles, Chinese rocketry. All right. Like we call them, okay, Long March, the Long March missile, all right? ICBM, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, with a MIRV, multiple reentry vehicle, okay, for the nose cone. It looks a lot like that. From what I understand is way back in the good old days, China actually sent five Long March missiles, okay, to North Korea, and three of those missiles are inoperative. Another one is operative, and the one that was just fired, obviously it's operative. But I got news for you folks. They can hit the U.S. shores anytime with a Long March. Oh, excuse me. I keep lapsing. Okay, we call that missile for a good reason. We call that missile in the intelligence community the Long Dong missile. Okay, I don't know about you, but I don't want to get killed by a missile that has the name Long Dong on it. All right. So let's just realize what we're dealing with here. First of all, Kim Jong Il or whatever, or Kim Jong Un or whatever his name is, Pee Wee. Okay. And somebody give him a decent haircut, first of all, okay? And secondly, guess what? He is going to shoot another one off, the other operative missile off in probably another couple of weeks, and this one will be very close, folks. He is going to try to hit us, okay? At first, I thought nobody could be that crazy. What, did he eat too much lead polluted kimchi or something? Mercury polluted kimchi? Yeah, I think he did. I think he has. All right. He is going to try to hit us with the next one. Okay. And here's the deal. Okay. Is first of all, everybody call what is it? 1-800 Arkansas, for Bill Clinton, or 1-800 New York. I want Mr. Clinton to start answering a few questions on this. Okay, here's the deal: is Mr. Clinton overrode all the safeguards, okay, that the NSA had established for the telemetry research on ICBM intercontinental missiles. Okay, the Chinese were lagging. Guess what? Okay, Mr. Clinton overrode all those safeguards and sent the Red Chinese. All right, they've never been our friends. They never will be our buddies. Okay, number one and number two. All right, they actually gave him a small donation for his election, for him sending the telemetry to them to upgrade and change the design of their ICBMs. So guess where those upgrades went? They went directly to North Korea. Okay, all right. What can I say? I've told you folks who's committed treason. Okay, and no doubt they've committed treason, high level of treason. Okay, if you think I'm wrong about that, just ask the folks that were sitting in the Iranian embassy, okay, as hostages. Just ask them what they think of George H.W. Bush. Yes, he committed treason. You can read all about it in the October Surprise. Okay, so don't think for a second that their pet watchdogs, okay, that they have, the Clintons, would think twice about selling our avowed enemies, okay, something that could destroy us. Don't even think that they'd hesitate. You've seen that psychopath Hillary Clinton. Okay, you think she's stable? Think she's normal? Okay, all right. That's what we have here. We have a situation now where the chickens are come home to roost. Those ICBMs are on the way, folks, thanks to the Clintons, thanks to the Bushes, okay? And so you're wondering, this is one bright ray of hope in all of this, is, a few months ago, Mr. Obama, okay, finally was forced to admit that, yes, the plutonium program had been reinvigorated, re-energized, okay, ostensibly, according to Mr. Obama, it was to basically power up space travel, vehicles, okay, like the Viking, and so forth, okay. They use plutonium power, okay, to go ahead and do space travel. That's the excuse he used. I got news for you, okay. What he did, he made a whole lot of money, okay, really a lot of money, and he sent a lot of that plutonium to, okay, and he didn't give them the top of the line plutonium stuff, okay. The Russians would pick that one up. No, and the Russians got 20% of our good stuff, okay. No, thanks to Hillary, okay. No, the North Koreans have a degraded 50% active version. Oh, it'll give you a pretty good bang for the buck, guaranteed. But they didn't get, they got the, you know, the diluted stuff, 50-50, okay? So yes, they do have plutonium warheads, okay? Plutonium base, what is it? With polonium focused with a lens, okay? Yes, they have those now because AQ Khan from Pakistan, you know, the group that's sending all their heroin to the United States and causing all these people to, you know, what, OD, all right? Pakistan, yeah, our good friend in all of this, you know, the ISI has arranged, okay, to send all their heroin here, okay, in exchange for, guess what? Doing all the spying for Hillary Clinton, okay, to spy on all our fellow politicians. Just ask the Awan brothers, A-W-A-N. Everybody hear that spelling? Just ask the Awan brothers, okay? So what we have here now is Pakistan has the top rogue nuclear scientist who has been back and forth to North Korea. Oh, gosh, you know, hey, look at me. I'm 100% disabled, brain damage from my government service. And what do I have? Okay, I can even figure this one out. Okay, folks? All right. You know, you're getting your money's worth with when you sent me off to war, you're getting your money's worth. Okay. So what can I say? All right. But that plutonium, yes, it's denatured 50-50, but AQ Khan, and that is the name of the man who has reconfigured that whole fissile pile in these long dong missiles that are headed our way. What part about that does anybody not understand? Okay. Yes, as Lenin said, capitalists, and he was referring to Americans, capitalists will gladly send you the rope that's used to hang them. Okay. Gee, here we got it. Okay. Here we've got it. You know, our own politicians set up 9/11. All 19 hijackers have confirmed CIA contract status. Okay. And now we've got massive surveillance of who? The whole world? Oh, no, no. Okay. No, of course not. We've got massive surveillance of you, I, and everybody else. Okay.
Right.
Good. DC that. Discontinue that program right now and put that money into healthcare for Americans, as in Americans. All right. There's not an American on U.S. soil that should have to pay for medical care. All right. I used to be a doctor, and I used to be a pretty good one at that till I met the intelligence community. And guess what? I've never recovered since. But even I know how to figure out how to put every American on a healthcare program and how to stop your government from being in a rogue status, runaway status, totalitarian regime status. All right. So that's what I have to say today. I think I pretty much got everything. Okay.
Well, Greg, that's because you care. And I want to make that very clear. They don't care. And we're seeing all this stuff because they don't care. But this is the end of our show. So I want to thank you again, Greg, for being the pillar of truth in our life and this program, and for TLB as well, the Liberty Beacon and TLBTV. And we'll talk to you on Friday.
Okay, Luca.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure as always. Thank you.